This is a TLDR tier list for next week's Mutation. This is based on solo play because your ally is a random factor that cannot be accounted for. Also, this is based on above average co-op knowledge. Mechanical skill is not that important in co-op. Adjust these rankings based on your own knowledge and skill level. I will start off with a note that both aggressive deployment and missile command are much easier in a duel because your ally will pretty much have to deal with them one way or another. As such, these rankings will be very different in duels. However, if your ally does absolutely nothing, then it'll actually be more difficult for you because their base is going to be out of the way and you will have to defend it. As usual, these rankings will be for solos, so in duels, those at the top will be super good and those at the bottom will still be okay. Let's get started. So first we have Daka. Daka is not that good against missile command, and later on you're going to keep getting dropped in the base, and if your creeper hosts get shat on, then you're going to lose defenses against missiles. And because you have to deal with aggressive deployment and missiles at home, your army outside won't actually be very large. So you have to rely on basically like pack leaders and maybe a handful of mutalisks to deal with the enemies. He's not very good. Oh, he's in the wrong tier. He's here. So he's all right, but he can't really deal with like explosive threats or any super heavy hitting comps. MX, he's super good against missile command, and his bunkers are just so strong they can deal with any comp that comes their way. You only need a handful of units on the field to deal with the shuttles, and then the rest of the time you can just stay at home. Even explosive threats was not a problem for him. Steman against missile command is terrible. Like, they changed him, he got nerfed in the sense that like his attack used to bypass PDDs, but now they get stuck. So dealing with nukes is a lot harder. The best way to deal with nukes is to use Brute Lords and Yamato them, and that's not always reliable either. And if you're fighting an enemy comp that hits really hard or has lots of AoE or even air units, like Spore Crawlers are not good against air because of PDDs that fly around. So if you're fighting an air comp, you'll need something on the ground to deal with the air. And like after 15 minutes when nukes come, you're going to be extremely busy and it's just very hectic. Stukov is super easy. You can fight against pretty much any comp. You just mass bunkers and then later on add some liberators and tanks depending on what you're fighting. Liberators no matter what because they'll be good against the shuttles. Kerrigan, she's decent because with Omega Worms, you can put lots of dummy units everywhere, and with Omega Worms everywhere, you can stall, and even if you have to go back to deal with a nuke, the enemies will just be hitting Omega Worms, so they won't actually move towards your base, and you can pop out anywhere and snipe shuttles or deal with whatever enemies. So she's alright. She's gonna suffer a little bit against AoE, so that's no good. Carax, easy peasy. He has Unity Barrier as well, so that's very good. You just deal with whatever at home and then send a bunch of mirages, snipe the objective. Swan, same thing. I thought Immortals would be problematic. Turns out if the Immortals aren't buffed, they're not that scary. You may lose a building or two, but your P1 laser is really good at slowing them down. For Zeratul, very easy, you just mass cannons, and you have a legion for every aggressive deployment wave. You use Telbris to deal with Zerg units, or you use Serdeth to deal with anything else that needs stealing. So you're going to be fighting a lot of T6 AD waves, and you just steal whatever battle cruisers or Thors or whatever they drop. Rainer, surprisingly, is very good because he deals with missile command very well. The problem is aggressive deployment, but on this map you can deal with the first 2 shuttle waves, that's the first 11 minutes, with just Hyperion, which means you kind of just stay at home, and what you can do is you mass lots of vultures and you drop spider mines everywhere, and he won't deal with like explosive threats that well, but against even like if they're air enemies, like you can mass Vikings to stay at home and shoot while your battle cruisers go out on the field to help reduce cooldown and also deal with the shuttles. Rainer is pretty strong. Zagara, oh man, Zagara just bad against missile command, And even against the easiest comps, she had a pretty hard time. So if you're not good with your bio launchers, or if you're not holding position on your scourges, you're just gonna keep losing them. So you have to be busy all the time, and you're gonna be bleeding buildings. Your buildings will get hit a lot. And if you try to make queens, they'll get hit by splitter missiles, and they're gonna eventually die. So queens aren't really a good option. So Zagara's just not that great here. Abathur, he's pretty good. You do have to know how to get the first Brutalist, so you stop the bleeding. Later on, you can have a few Swarm hosts to help out, and in the late game, after 15 minutes, you pretty much don't move Brutalists out. They only exist to stop the nukes, and you use your Leviathans plus Air Army. I faced classic mech with a little bit of problems, but not that bad. A lot of battle cruisers will like Yamato your stuff, and it'll be kind of painful, but he can do it. Alarak, I remember facing Shadow Tech, and it was fine. So against like lots of battle cruisers, it's actually kind of hard, but that's in the late game. And you just patrol a lot of destroyers, and then you have your mothership plus Alarak out on the field destroying stuff. And of course, your overcharges can help defend your base as well. So he's pretty nice. Artanis against Missile Command, just terrible. Against extra units, also terrible. So you have to really be on top of everything in order to survive, and even then, it is not easy. Tykus, he can fight pretty much any comp, and yeah, Sirius stays at home. His turrets will deal with Missile Command, make a wall of auto turrets to defend against missiles as well. Very easy. Han and Horner, hard time even against easy comps. And you need to like fly your Reapers to deal with the nukes, and you have to pay attention. You also have to keep repairing, which wastes your money. So it's just not a good experience. Vorazun, surprisingly not as good as I thought, but patrolling Corsairs allows you to deal with Missile Command. In fact, it's actually kind of interesting because fighting an air comp is easier than fighting a mixed comp, because if you just fight an air comp, you need your Corsairs anyways to deal with missiles plus deal with the objectives, and you don't need to make so many DTs. Whereas if you're fighting a mixed comp, you need both, and you have to spend money on DTs, which means you have less money for Corsairs. So Vorazun's not that great. I thought she was going to be decent, but I guess B is still alright. Nova. Oh, Nova's like Steadman, which is you need to use Ravens to Seeker Missile the nukes, and you have to pay attention all the time. If you're fighting an air comp, it's not going to be great. And because you have so much army at home to deal with AD, you have less on the field. Liberator attacks also get stopped by random PDDs flying by, and it really sucks. Phoenix, same thing. You use your Dragoon suit to deal with nukes, and you switch out whenever you're not fighting a nuke, and your buildings basically just keep bleeding. They just keep bleeding to death because you don't really have a way to stop the nukes, stop the regular missiles. You just keep taking hits, and hopefully you have more buildings than they have missiles. And you use your Zealot suit to spin and kill the enemy AD waves. If they have air, then you're kind of in trouble because you need your Dragoon suit for a lot of the shuttles, especially early on. So he's not that great. That's it for this tier list. You can extrapolate this info to your duel runs. Good luck with the mutation.